Today we're testing out the Bloomin Onion maker. So if you don't know what that is, that's like those big deep fried onions you can get from like Applebee's and stuff like that. And this is basically a complete kit. Now this actual container is basically a breading box. And I'm going to show you all the ingredients I have today to make this, but it basically allows you to just shake. And you can also use it for like wings and other deep fried stuff if you want. But the accessories that you get for the Bloomin Onion, this is a Bloomin Onion slicer. And this is a decor we'll use after. So let's walk through the steps that we need and let's give it a try and see if this actually works to make a pretty good Bloomin Onion. So before you get started with anything else, the first thing you're gonna need is this deep fryer. So I have a deep fryer here, heated up to 375. This is the SUBCRIBE one. Okay, so to get started, we're gonna need a few things. First, you need some warm water in a container large enough to dip your onion in. I'll explain why in a second. You need your breader box right here. And what I have this filled up with is just all-purpose flour, panko, and then some seasonings like garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and some paprika. Now you don't have to use panko crumbs. I just like that nice crispy texture, so I'm gonna see if it works out. Don't fill it up too high. You want at least some room so when you shake it off, the excess could fall. Because you see, it's kind of like a strainer design. So we're gonna put the lid back on. Now this is a wet batter. This is just 1 egg and like half a cup of milk with, again, some seasonings. Always season everything. This is paprika, a little bit of salt, onion powder, garlic powder. Now you need onions. So as many as you're gonna cook, larger onions if possible. You can see this thing does stretch out a little bit. So if your onion is larger, you are gonna be able to hopefully still fit it in. This might be a little bit more of a struggle. But step one is we need to cut our onion up. So make sure you have a sharp knife. And I want to show you the proper way to do it. So if you look on the side here, this is the side with the roots. You want to take the other side, okay? And what we want to do is we want to cut about 1/4 inch off the top here. So I'm just going to cut it right about here. Now we don't want to disturb the root whatsoever. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take now and just peel off that excess skin from the top. We're basically just taking a layer off the onion. You might end up peeling a little bit of the onion. That's okay as well. Just take off what you can and make sure you're not disturbing that root. So if you can take a little bit of that skin off the roots, you want to do that as well. Now that we have our onion all cut up and ready to go, we want to take our stand here that they include. Now what you're going to do, very simple, you're going to put your onion in, root facing down again, because we don't want to disturb that root. That's what keeps our onion together. And we're just going to press it into our stand right here. You can see it doesn't fit perfectly. Now they created all these little cuts here, so you can cut your onion all the way down. And I go all the way down to the bottom, and then I come up. And it's actually a really simple design, and this is what's going to create that Bloomin effect. So you just want to make sure you're in between those lines there, and we'll see how well this works. I mean, I'm a little worried that it's going to end up breaking, but we'll see. We have one more onion, I guess, if we need another test one, but like this. I got a couple more still. I should have went in order, but I ended up going in random assortments. Okay, I think that's good. I think I got it all. Now let's try to pop it out here. You can see there's just at the bottom there, we can push it. Oh, we've got some layers falling off here. Okay, so we have, it's a little bit of a mess. So what you're supposed to do apparently, which I think we're gonna have to cut some of these off here, we'll see. You're supposed to give it a little bit of a hit, and that should open it up like petals. Now you can see mine, I might have cut a little too deep in this one. I hope this still works out. But you can see all those petals, and it's all pretty loose. I definitely cut a little too deep because some of them did end up falling off, but there's still a portion of them. Now you want to take that warm water that we have, and we're basically just blanching the onion. Now you only want to leave it in the warm water. It's not hot, it's warm, for around a minute. What this is going to do is take away some of that harsh smell, and it's also going to open it up a little bit. So go ahead, just put it in there. And this should just be hand warm water, nothing crazy from my understanding. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to open up these petals to see how it goes. And we're going to leave that for 1 minute. Okay, so it's been in here for about a minute now. I'm just going to take it out, and I'm just going to put on some paper towel just to let some of that water absorb there. Look at this really cool petal design. So it actually opened up pretty good. Again, I think I cut just a little bit too deep, but for the most part, most of it kind of stayed intact. So we're just going to let this sit for 1 minute, just dry off, and let some of that water drip down. Okay, so now that we've let it sit, and it's mostly dry, which it doesn't have to be perfectly dry because it is going in a wet batter, let's go ahead and put it in this milk and egg mixture right there. And this is why I brought a spoon, because I should have used a deeper bowl, and I wasn't using a lot of wet batter. You can just use the spoon if you were like me, and you just want to try to coat as much as possible. Actually, what we can do is we can try to give this a little flip just like this. And we want to get those petals open to make sure we get as much of this wet mixture in there as possible. So just open it up. Use your hands. Don't be scared. If you have gloves on, even better. And just try to coat it as much as possible, because we really want that dry batter to stay. Now, once you're satisfied, the really cool part about this design is we're going to pull this out and then look at our batter right here and just let it drip for a sec. You can see I have some peels coming off. So again, I think I cut a little too deep, but we'll work with what we got. And we're just going to place it inside our device like this and close it tight. So once you have it closed, all you got to do is just shake, 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 is what they say. I'm hoping not too much of it breaks up, but we should have all that nice stuff in there, and this should also help the excess drip down. You have enough shake in there? And I would say it did a pretty good job coating. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back. We have some petals that fell again, and I'm just going to turn it upside down and see if we can get some of that other side coated as well. Okay, let's open it up. Whew. Okay, so I'm just going to move some of that aside so the rest drips down. And there we go. We still had some more petals fall off. So again, I think that's just me cutting it too deep. And that's why I didn't have enough to stick on. But we're going to give it a try and see how it turns out like this. So we have our oil all warmed up here to 375. And I'm going to take the whole onion. Again, I'm going to try to get off as much of the fallen petals as I can, which is actually quite a bit. And we're just going to put our onion right there. And we're going to plop it in. Let's see how it goes. Now you can see we're going to have to flip it halfway because part of it's not going to cook, or you can spoon some oil onto it. We're going until it's golden brown. Okay, so we're starting to see it get pretty golden brown along the edges. I'm going to give it another minute, and then we're going to try to give it a flip, and hopefully it doesn't fall apart. Okay, so let's try to give it a flip here. It's not sticking, which is good, and it's mostly staying together. So I'm actually kind of impressed, right? Oh, look at that. I'm going to try to press it down a little bit so all those insides get cooked up. You can see it really doesn't take long. It's only been in there for about 2 minutes. Okay, so that should be good enough. We can see it's pretty golden brown. I'm going to lift it up, and we're just going to let it strain for a few minutes before we take a look at the final results and give it a flip. All right, let's give it a little flip. Moment of truth. Woo! Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it is the most beautiful Bloomin' Onion, but Now, the biggest mistake was cutting this too deep. Make sure you don't go all the way down to the grooves unless you have a small enough onion that fits in the mold. I would go down. I would leave a little bit more in the grooves. I think I just went a little too far down. Now, I wouldn't be complete without some sriracha mayo. I don't know why I did those lines. I thought it would look nice. It doesn't. Let's give this a try. Oh, last part. This is the decor. Look at this. So we have that core in the middle. I think we take this side and we just go right down in the middle. And that removes the whole core. Look at that. The whole core. So now we can eat everything. And I think I would just use a flour mixture. I think the panko kind of got in the way a little bit. This thing's a thumbs up, for sure. Hit that subscribe button, link down below in the description.